I have chosen the app Coding with Chrome. I chose it because our students learn and use coding during our digital learning time. We have an hour of digital learning time each week where the students rotate by trimester through different digital learning specialists, learning coding, digital citizenship, and research skills. During the coding project, the students learn Scratch and coding, and they create projects using coding and creating avatars, and they did a book project. So I was interested to find out how I could use this in the classroom, as we have a Chromebook cart with 30 Chromebooks available to grades 3 and 4, so we can sign it out. I do house it in my classroom, so I have more availability than other students and other teachers. So I use it a lot more, probably than other teachers do. So you go to the Chrome web store and you choose Coding with Chrome. And then you have to launch the app. And the nice thing about this app is that not only are the students learning coding, where they can create something and see it actually happen, they have complete control over it. We also have 12 Spheros, which are what they sound like. They're spheres, and they are run by coding. And we can also sign these out for an hour block at a time. So using this Coding with Chrome will allow the students to create their code ahead of time, visually see what the Sphero will do, how it will move, so that then when we have our hour time with the Spheros, the students aren't spending the majority of the time creating code, but rather tweaking their code or seeing how their code actually works with the Sphero. So you launch the app, and then you have the option of being a beginner or advanced. And obviously, being a fourth grade teacher, we are beginning coding. And it's block coding. So basically, it's dragging and dropping. But we're going to use robots because we want the coding to be practical and utilized for the Spheros. And so when we get to the robots, some schools have EV3s, we have Spheros. And to start off with, the kids can see a rectangular example so that they can see coding that has been done already for the Sphero and see how it makes the Sphero move. So this is the example, and there are drop-down menus right here where you can click on and get options. You can set the color of the Sphero. The Spheros light up. The Spheros light up, and you can make it shake, and you can make it do different things. Ooh, I'm not sure why this is moving. This is interesting. And you can also decide how long you want it to roll, how many seconds, and at what speed it will be rolling. And the nice thing is the heading. So we have this grid here, and the students need to know angle measurements in order to have the Sphero move in a certain way. So in the past, we've used the Spheros for geometry. The students had to write code to make squares, write code to create rhombuses, write code to make obtuse triangles, right triangles, acute triangles. So there are more applications than just basic code. Once they've seen, as you can see, it's running code, so you can see the Sphero moving. Once they've done that, they can start a new program. And they can, again, there's a drop-down menu. So the movements that are advanced, we can see here that they can tell how long it's rolling, the speed, and the heading. They can repeat a loop, make it repeat a movement or a series of movements, and it can break out of that loop and then create a new loop. So if you want to, for instance, in some sort of a way for tangrams to create shapes, we've had students make obstacle courses for each other, and they've had to stop, turn, and go another route. So that's when you would break out of a loop and begin a new loop. The nice thing is that you can say how long, how many seconds it will roll, and how fast. And when you do the heading, the direction that it will go, the nice thing is that this circle pops up with angle measures. So this is another visual for the students to be able to see how big a 60-degree angle is, or how big a 225-degree angle is. And it also gets them to say, oh, that's obtuse. I'm trying to make an obtuse triangle. Now, there are more advanced operations, maybe for the upper grades. If it does this, then that, and different functions. And additionally, there are math equations. Obviously, in fourth grade, we don't do pi or sine or the square root, but this might be for the upper grades. The other thing about spheros is that they can change color. So you can set the color and choose from this palette. And once you have done this, you can run your program and see how the Sphero is moving. And ultimately, down here, when you choose this option, it will calibrate. So in order for a Sphero to recognize your device, you need to calibrate it so that they are talking to each other. So once the students have created the code and run the code on this grid, then they are able, when they're satisfied with their coding, they can then calibrate the device to the Sphero and actually use the Sphero and walk with it. So this coding tool helps the students, obviously, with the logical mathematical intelligence, because they're using reasoning, and they are systematically recording their information, and they are tweaking their data. When they see what is happening over here on the grid with their Sphero, they can change their coding. Spatially, it's nice for the students to be able to see it on this grid and to see what's happening. They can make the connection between the coding and the movement. And then, yes, it is like a puzzle or a maze, especially if you create an obstacle course. So, and yes, ultimately it's kinesthetic because the students are up and about walking around with the Spheros, holding the device. Obviously, with a Chromebook, it's much more cumbersome. We have used iPads, but what can happen is they can use the coding from the Chromebook and then apply it on the iPad if that's the case. It's easier to walk around with the iPad with the Sphero. So again, you can find this in the Chrome store. The students love being able to create the code and then watching the Sphero actually do what they're telling it to do. It's, they own that. And, some students like to do it by themselves. We do have 12 Spheros. So for those students who prefer to work independently, they have that option. But there's also the interpersonal where the students are working together to create code, and they're helping each other, and they get so excited when their code that they created together has the Sphero move. So I was happy to find this tool, and I feel like I'm going to really start off the year with this to get the kids excited with the Spheros. We've had a Sphero after-school enrichment program, which fills up very quickly because the kids really enjoy this. And a lot of kids are actually doing coding at home. So it allows the students who do that to have that piece of themselves that they can showcase for the other students. It gives them that opportunity. So I hope other people are interested and might try this at their school. So thank you very much.